This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for USVI News, the Virgin Islands Connection. I'm Emily Matson in today for Brissa Bradfield. VI Governor Albert Bryan's weekly news conference included several officials from the Department of Education sharing an update on COVID-19 and how schools will reopen. The plan for this semester includes some students returning to school, but only as the schools are outfitted to meet COVID-19 safety protocols, which, as the commissioner explains, there have been delays in receiving these items.
The Department of Education will roll out its hybrid instructional plan gradually between February and March of 2021. The plan entails students in grades pre-K through 3rd, students with special needs, and career and technical education students returning to school campuses for in-person instruction once their schools have been outfitted with the necessary fixtures that deem them safe to reopen, based on the Center of Disease Control and Prevention guidelines. This would look similar to the territory's 2017 hurricane season, when students returned to their school campuses gradually as the school buildings were repaired following the storms. The hybrid model also provides for our students in grades 4 through 12 to continue to learn from home. A primary factor contributing to the staggered return to our school campuses is that, like many of our school districts across the U.S. mainland, the VI Department of Education is experiencing unprecedented delays in the shipment of critical items that would help us open schools safely, including automatic soap dispensers and automatic hand sanitizer dispensers. Without these items installed in our school buildings, we will not receive the requisite approval from the VI Department of Health to return students to our campuses. It is important to note that hand washing stations and
And we'll, of course, keep you posted on the status of students in the Virgin Islands returning back to school as soon as we know any developments. Well, after more than 25 years, the Dunu Development Project in St. Thomas is now underway. It's a $1.1 billion project that has needed reconstruction since Hurricane Marilyn back in 1995. At Thursday's groundbreaking ceremony, government officials, as well as project developers, grabbed shovels to mark the beginning of the rebuilding. The project will create 84 new homes that will be state-of-the-art and will also be energy efficient, so they won't have a WAPA bill. While it's estimated to be a several-year project, organizers hope by December they will have a ribbon cutting for former residents to be able to move back in. Many are elated that their neighborhood is finally coming back.
Difficult for me. When my mom called me, because at the time that they was closing Dunu, I was already living in St. John by my dad. And when I got that news, I won't lie, I cried. I was like, oh, my whole childhood memory, everything is just gone, just like that. So it was very difficult for us. We even had an organization through the Dunu community members. We'll probably meet ever so often. We'll probably make sure that we stay together and stay in communication together. We even have a social media page for people that grow up and reside in Dunu. And right now, this is the most exciting thing for us. I'm not going to even tell you no lie. I'm going to get emotional. And I'm very happy and I'm very pleased to be back here standing on the soil that my childhood was brought up and doing the same thing that I did back then. And I just can't wait to be here for the ribbon cutting ceremony. Hopefully very, very soon. That way our families can come back to what we once know was home. Guys, we're getting our home back. And those that want to be part of the Dunu family and the Dunu community, you're all welcome. Because this is a stomping ground for locals like myself that came from a small community and standing now as a community leader in our beautiful Virgin Islands. Love you guys. Dunu Massive all the way.
That's wonderful. The groundbreaking finally taking place today. Lots of excited residents, understandably excited to see the new groundbreaking finally happen. So excited for them for sure. Now to the latest from our nation's capital. President Donald Trump released a video message shortly after becoming the first president in American history to be impeached twice.
I unequivocally condemn the violence that we saw last week. America is a nation of laws. Those who engaged in the attacks last week will be brought to justice.
In this recorded message, President Trump did not mention the impeachment, but he made his most direct condemnation of the violence carried out by a pro-Trump mob at the U.S. Capitol last week. He also directly appealed to his supporters to refrain from violence and vandalism as President-elect Joe Biden's inaugural approaches next week. As we reported, the House impeached the president for an article of incitement of insurrection at a rally of his supporters last Wednesday before the Capitol was attacked. And as we inch closer to Inauguration Day, excitement is growing in the Caribbean for the vice president-elect. Arlenis Quiñones spoke with a good friend of Kamala Harris about the significance of her win.
History was definitely made in the United States elections with the first Caribbean woman to not only be part of such an important ticket, but to actually win the vice presidency of the United States. We talked to a good friend of hers, which is developer Nicholas Parody, about the importance of this event and how can this affect Puerto Rico, since she has already been here and has a special connection with the island. What do you think is the importance of this right now?
Well, I think it's a momentous occasion for the fact that we now have a woman in the White House, and it's about time. You know, I have known the Vice President-elect for a number of years. I met her first at the Democratic National Convention when Hillary Clinton was running for president. She, at that point, was Attorney General and was running for the Senate. And I knew immediately that this was somebody that was going to change the world.
So she came to the island, right?
She did indeed. She made a promise to me that if she were elected senator, that her first trip outside the continental United States would be to Puerto Rico. And that just meant the world to me. You know, she's a daughter of the Caribbean. Her father is from Jamaica. A number of people had left Puerto Rico, and she was very sympathetic and helpful. Kamala Harris is somebody who, when we were on our knees after Hurricane Maria and Hurricane Irma, was somebody that I could talk to on a nightly basis. And in the dark days after that storm, when there was very little hope, she was always somebody that could be counted on. I could call her, she would take the call. I could explain to her the challenges that we were facing regionally. And in Puerto Rico, I mean, we had absolutely no power. We had very little access to potable water. There were certainly issues relating to how much diesel we had left on the island to generate power for the few generators that we did have. So all of those things were issues that we would talk about almost every night. She would take those conversations, go into the well of the Senate, make an impassioned argument on behalf of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. And, you know, those speeches were extremely important in terms of, you know, getting the federal government, you know, getting that machine rolling and moving and getting FEMA down here. And I am eternally grateful. And I think it's very easy to, you know, in the good times to be friends with somebody, but you really know your friends in the bad times. And, you know, Kamala Harris was there for us then, and she will be there for us now and in the future. And I could not be more excited and more proud of her. I think that our country is going to benefit from having her cool hand on the rudder, as they say. Joe Biden is the right person at the right time and a kind man, and I think that the whole world now needs more kindness.
Both President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris will be sworn in the 20th of January. Reporting from Puerto Rico, Arlenis Quiñones.
Oh, it's great to hear of the future VP's connection to the Caribbean. And of course, we know President-elect Joe Biden has an affinity for the Virgin Islands, too. So this could mean good things for the Virgin Islands moving forward with this new administration. And we'll have more on that coming up in the next week ahead of the inauguration here on USVI News. So stay tuned and look for that.